In this video, I'm going to be restoring this old guitar. I actually got this from a carboot sale. I was walking along and I saw the guitar and I said to the guy, I said, "How much do you want for the guitar, buddy?" And he was like, "It's seen better days." He went, "Just take it." So I was like, okay then, that's cool, little project. Then I was thinking, is this a blessing or a curse? It's got quite a lot of things wrong with it. The first obvious thing is that it's got this wood missing that supports the neck and brings it to the frame. It's got some cracking around the edge and it's got some scratches, got some dents. Even these pegs here, it's got one missing. They're a bit rusty. This part, I think this is called a bridge, and this is obviously a bit damaged. The strings aren't on properly. I haven't done this before. This is not like a professional guitar refurbishment. It's just a bit of fun to see what we can do at home with some basic tools. Let's remove the strings first. Not sure how I'm going to remove that one because I can't even turn it. There's probably an easier way to do it, but this is what we got. I'm gonna try and do it without damaging it more. Yeah, we can do it by hand now. Next string. This way. There we go, that one's come loose. And this one. Hey. Now we just want to remove these little bits and pieces from here. Just bits of broken strings and all that. I don't really want to touch it too much because it's quite rusty. There we go. So now we have this guitar with... It's better already, isn't it? Even the fret strips are falling out. Oh my God, this is so annoying. Right now, I think a good step is to actually just get some warm soapy water and just give it a once down because it's so filthy. It's dusty. Yeah, look at that. Makes it look so much nicer. Got an old toothbrush here. So I've got a little bit of sandpaper here. And I know it's a bit counterintuitive because this will scratch the surface, but some parts are so stubborn, they need a bit of sandpaper. To reduce scratches, you can actually use a little bit of water with the sandpaper. That'll make it have slightly a scratchy surface without scratching it as much. And you don't want to do this with an expensive guitar. This is, you know, an old guitar. We're restoring it. It doesn't matter if it's a bit rustic, we can make it look nice. I'm even going to go on the fretboard a little bit because it is a bit rustic. So let's embrace that. The first part I really want to fix is this part because this is an obvious piece of damage right here. You know, there's clearly a big bit of wood missing. So what we're going to do ahead of time, here I have some blocks. They're like little construction Jenga blocks sort of thing. We're going to put 3 in a row like this and stick them all together. And it's going to look something like that. Lots of glue on there. Going to need to withstand a lot of use from the guitar. Place them on top of each other. So now what we actually want to do is stick these 2 sets of 3 blocks together. We could actually just shove that on there, or we could let it dry. We would be best off letting it dry. So what I'm going to do is actually just remove the excess glue. We're just going to put that little clamp on. So next up, we're going to remove these. So we're going to have to manually unscrew each screw. I couldn't actually get those screws out, so I'm actually having to pry them off with a flathead screwdriver. Now the next part, this, I think it's called a saddle. Probably get a flathead screwdriver in there. Like that. Yes. Now it may seem like we're not getting anywhere, but trust me, we are. It's all going to come together. We're actually going to remove that whole trim. Let's place the guitar like this. As you can see, we've got the knife in there and we're just cutting round the trim to remove it. The reason we're removing the trim is because we're replacing it with a new trim. And now we have successfully removed the trim. The main concern with this is that it's going to be very sharp. So what we want to do is just get a tiny bit of our sandpaper again. We're going to go around the edge just to smoothen it out. The paint finish we've got is Heritage Cherry. The bad news is it doesn't mix well with water at all. But the good news is that it does actually match the colour. More bad news is it's very stinky, so I'm actually going to paint this very quickly. So it doesn't really give the desired effect with a paintbrush. It might be easier and more efficient to use a sponge and use that to get the finish on, and it might even give it a nice streaky look. It is like a cherry blood red, isn't it? So it gives it a nice effect, that wood. But obviously, because this has already technically got a finish on it, it's not really taking very well to it. If I just quickly sand this, it might help the paint adhere to it a bit better. And let's just do it really rustic as well. That's better, isn't it? It dries quite quick actually. I mean, if I put it on thick, it looks much better. Right, now I'm going to paint this to colour match. Might need 2 coats, to be honest. It's not a very nice paint to work with, that one. It doesn't look perfect, but perfect is not what we are going for. It looks very rustic. Either way, it looks like it's given a new lease of life and colour to our guitar. Let's carry on working on it. We'll start with this bit, I think. Our wood block, what we want to do is put it on top of that edge, and then this is a work pencil. This is roughly our shape here, so we're going to cut out this middle piece. The good news is that it worked. We cut it. The bad news is that it did splinter quite a bit. We're going to get some glue, place it on this area here like that. Make sure we've got enough, because this is going to sit on here like that. And I'm actually going to hold this in place with an elastic band. It's far from ideal, but you know, nothing about this project so far has been ideal. So we're going to insert these. This is where our strings are going to go. Insert those. And this one here. And that looks quite nice actually. All we need to do is screw this in. It actually works much easier with the screwdriver. Pop that in there where it needs to go. And now it's called a bone nut. We need to attach the bit of metal that came out. So I'm actually going to use this quickly to scrape some of the paint off the other ones. But we'll get a little bit of glue and I'm just going to pop that in there like so, and then I've got to quickly get that in before it dries, and I don't want super glue on my hands. Right now, these little caps need to go into here, and you're going to push it in. It doesn't look the same colour, but I'm getting it the same shape. I can paint it, it will blend, and you will barely notice it. But I think that should stand out a little bit, because it shows character, you know, what this guitar's been through. It's been for a hell of a ride, and it doesn't deserve to be just chucked in the bin. That's my belief. So this is the strip that we took off, but this is a brand new one. So this is actually a lot more tricky than I thought, because you have to kind of like hold it in place whilst it's gluing, whilst it's drying. For you guys that are watching still, I just want to quickly say that in my mind, this was going to be so easy. It has been a lot more difficult. And whilst it has been, you know, somewhat fun, it has also been very annoying many times. And if I saw, you know, how this was going to turn out before I'd started, I wouldn't have bothered. It's that sense of achievement, isn't it? Right, so now we've got the trim on. I'm actually going to sand this a little bit more, make it look a bit nicer, make it blend a bit more. And then it's a case of just getting some paint on it and adding the strings, I guess. When it's painted, it barely looks any different. So what we're going to do is once this is dry, I might give it one more coat just to finish the look. And you know, we could always sand this a bit more if we wanted to, but it's not a big deal. I did spill a bit on here, but I'm going to use some nail varnish remover to get rid of that. Now let's put the strings on. So the strings aren't labelled, which is a pain, but you can kind of tell which one's which by the thickness. So this one's the thickest one, so I'm going to pop that into one of these pegs. So that's going to go through there, and then we're going to pop that in there like that. And then the next one goes in there, pop the peg in there like that. Just going to have to bash them in place. And now I'm going to have to get my phone and get a tuning app up. out of tune. And there we go. So this guitar is pretty much restored. So it's got a rustic front, we've replaced the strings, we've replaced the pegs, we've replaced the bridge, we have replaced the trim on the back, which looks really nice. And then obviously we've also restored this bit, and I will get some like nail varnish remover just to remove this bit, but other than that, it's pretty much good to go. It doesn't hold its tune very well, it's not amazing, but it's much better than what it was. It definitely seems like this whole neck needs bringing back a bit more, but I'm pretty happy with what we've done. Anyway, I hope you liked this video, and if you did, you will really like this video on screen now.